Hey guys, Josh here. I'm coming to you with my beautiful fiance, Allie Sumner. Allie, say hi.
Hi.
And we're going to be doing something a little different than what you're used to. We just got finished watching The Mechanic, starring Jason Statham and Ben Foster. You might have seen the previews for it. It was in theaters earlier this year and has just now made its way onto Redbox and DVD on demand, all that type of stuff. It is a movie about two hitmen who go after the company that employs them after they are betrayed by said company. So, Allie, what were your initial impressions of The Mechanic?
It was really intense. There were parts when I had to cover my eyes because I was a little bit scared of what was gonna happen next, and there were some very intense fight scenes, and I don't know, intense. That was the way I'd describe it.
Yes, it was a very kind of graphic, violent movie, obviously, about two hitmen. So, there's going to be a lot of shootouts, a lot of explosions, a lot of bare knuckle brawls. So, if you're an action junkie, you would definitely get your fix with this movie. Jason Statham fans, he delivers in this one more so than any other because the corny factor that you see in movies like The Transporter or Crash are not present in this one. This movie takes itself very seriously and definitely delivers on the action. All right, so now we're going to touch on the two main performances in The Mechanic, which were Jason Statham and Ben Foster. We'll start with Jason Statham, who is probably the biggest action star going right now. Had a lot of movies, as I mentioned earlier, the Transporter films, 1, 2, and 3, Crash 1 and 2. He was in the Expendables with Sly Stallone and all them. And, not a man known for his great acting skills. So, what you want to know is, did he deliver the action in The Mechanic? And, Allie, what would you say?
Definitely, he is very, very believable as this character. You, right off the bat, he just brings his game face, and it's totally believable. He, you can totally, he totally knows what he's doing. You just, trust him, and you just follow him along in this ride because you totally trust where he's going and his game plan. Every kill.
Yeah, that's a kind of a staple of Jason Statham movies is that really jumps right into the character and you believe it right off the bat, like Ali said, because you can totally buy Jason Statham as a hitman with no emotions who just kills people and moves on to the next target. So let's talk about his protege in the movie, Ben Foster, who we both recognize from something else but can't quite place him. We do have a computer handy, but we didn't think to check IMDb. But that's not here nor there. We're talking about his performance in The Mechanic. A more nuanced character, I think, than Jason Statham's character was. Mourning the death of his father, who we will not spoil how his father dies in the movie, but it is very crucial to the plot. And the relationship between his character and Jason Statham's definitely evolves as the movie goes on in a very interesting way. But Allie, what did you think about Ben Foster in a role that was definitely very action oriented, like Jason Statham's, but had some more pathos to it?
Yeah, he was definitely an interesting character. He made you a little bit nervous when you're watching it because he is the protege and he is learning how to be a hitman, and so you can tell that he, doesn't really exactly know what he's doing, and which I think is a pretty interesting role to watch. And you do see his progression as a character and as a hitman as the movie goes on, but there are definitely some scenes where you're a little bit nervous because he doesn't know what he's doing and he's not listening to the man in charge. So that's a little bit scary.
Including one scene that we'll talk about here in just a minute that had Allie covering her eyes and freaking out.
Yeah.
But those are the only two performances really worth mentioning in this movie. Everyone else is kind of a throwaway part. But Ben and Jason both do a great job, deliver the action. They're not going to win Oscars for any performance they give, but that's not what you expect. So acting all around, very good, very enjoyable to watch. All right, so we've talked about our initial impressions. We talked about performances. Now let's get down to the plot line. Any action movie, it's not going to win for its screenplay. Its writers aren't Harvard educated, more than likely. But that's not why you watch the movie, just like we talked about. The acting is not why you watch the movie. But Allie, was the plot in this movie, did it detract at all from the overall experience, or was it serviceable for an action movie involving two hitmen?
I think it was pretty easy to follow. You don't want something to be so complicated that you just don't even know what's going on. But I thought it was easy to follow, but it was interesting, kept your attention, definitely entertaining. It's pretty high action. There's always something new, some new kill coming up, so you're never bored.
And it has just enough kind of twists and turns to where you do have to pay attention. I agree. You don't want to make an action movie that's like a movie version of Lost, where if you miss 10 seconds, you're completely out of the loop for the rest of the movie. That's not the mechanic at all. Like I said, there are enough twists and turns, or it's not just a straightforward linear plot. But for the most part, if you're looking to see two hitmen get revenge on the company that tries to kill them, then you're in the right place. And finally, before we give our final grades, we're going to talk about the special effects, which includes the fight scenes, all the stunts, explosions, gunfights. I thought it looked fantastic, very brutal and very real. Sometimes movies go too far, and you can really tell that you're watching a movie because all of the special effects just seem kind of forced, a little bit fake. But as we mentioned before, it's very gritty and very real with all of the fight scenes in particular. I thought there were some humongous explosions that would make Michael Bay proud. The gunfights were great, and the stunts were crazy. Babe, what did you think?
The scene that we mentioned earlier with a huge person target they were trying to kill. This guy was like
6'7", 300 pounds. It says in the movie.
He looked like an NFL player. He was a beast. And there's a crazy fight scene between him and the protege.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just unbelievable. I mean, the amount of choreography and practice that went into this must have been insane. Because there's a lot of blood. Again, I covered my eyes for part of it because it was very, very brutal.
I'm pretty sure that Ben Foster's character got thrown through every glass surface in this guy's house.
I definitely think he did. It was a little bit intense. Lots of dents and things. And, you know, the explosions and things like that, there were parts where I'm like, where are the cops? You know, this thing is, like, blowing up. So, they were all really good. And there are definitely scenes that I jumped, kind of caught my breath a little bit whenever an action, sequence happened because it was very exciting.
Now talk about probably the movie's biggest stunt piece, which a lot of people probably saw on the trailers or the previews for this movie, which was them basically being attached to a cable and jumping off the side of a building. How did you feel that looked in the scope of the movie?
That was definitely good, and they paced it really well. Like, it was very tedious watching them fall down this building. And, I mean, it really was practically a free fall of them going down. So that was they did a nice job of that because Ben Foster just looked completely terrified. So I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, you can tell which one's the protege because Ben Foster's freaking out as they're jumping off the side of this building. And Jason Statham is completely cool. But I thought all around the stunts were great. Looked very realistic, which fit the overall tone of the movie. It would have been a little weird to have these kind of corny or slapstick stunts, like what you might have saw on the A-Team, mixed in with a very serious and dramatic action movie. So,
and usually after the different stunts or action sequences, it's followed by you saying some type of profanity because it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so it really gets you pumped up to watch these guys shoot people, blow stuff up, and jump off the sides of buildings.
Yes.
All right, so now that we've covered the performances, the plot line, and the stunts, we're going to give this thing a real grade. And I am giving it a 81, which puts it right above Salt and right below The Next 3 Days, because with Real Talk Reviews, it's all about where does this movie fall in the compendium of all the movies that I've ever reviewed. But, babe, I think your opinion differs a little bit on where it ranks on the list.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I would probably give it a 79. I like Salt a little bit better. I mean, girl power. Angelina just killed it in Salt, in my opinion. It's a little bit different than Salt because a lot of Salt stunts are kind of unrealistic. But I don't know. I still thought that Salt was a little bit more entertaining. This is a little bit more serious and dramatic. So, but similar to Salt in the rankings, but I would give it lower than Salt.
Now, a little bit interesting to note here because my dad actually called last night and was down between watching this and that new Sean Penn movie, Fair Game, that you mentioned. And I told him to go with Fair Game because I did not think Mom would enjoy The Mechanic. Now, how do you feel if guys brought this home with their wives or girlfriends to watch? Would you give the thumbs up for them to go ahead and sit down and watch this with them?
I'm probably not most girls. I really like action movies, so I thought it was entertaining, and it was serious and it was dramatic, and the characters were interesting to watch. But there were definitely parts. I mean, in this movie, I did cover my eyes in some parts, so I don't think that many women would appreciate some of the pretty gruesome scenes because I did cover my eyes, and most girls probably wouldn't want to watch movies like this. But I really liked it, and I thought it was good, and it was serious and dramatic, and so I think maybe, hopefully, women will appreciate that. But if you like dramatic action movies, then yeah, you'd like it.
Yeah, I think bottom line, if you like action, no matter what gender you are, that you would really enjoy The Mechanic. You can check it out now at Redbox, Blockbuster, any other movie rental store through Netflix or Dish, or DirecTV on demand. We would highly recommend it, and we think you will enjoy it. And thanks for tuning in to this video review.
Thanks.